If you swabbed the inside of your belly button and placed it into warm milk.
What the who would do that? Who would do that? Why would you do that? This makes no sense. This is titled belly button cheese. Why would we do this? What we finna do now, chat, is we're going to react to someone that we haven't yet reacted to, but we all know him. We're gonna look at one of the most infamous short creators ever.
They tie.
Hold on, chat. We're gonna be watching some Zack D films, chat. Yeah, bro. This has some of the most outlandish shorts content I've ever seen on a platform. But we gonna check it out. You know what I'm saying? So this first one, chat, is why elephants never escape.
A small rope around the baby's leg, tight enough that it can't break free.
Okay.
Now, the elephant pulls and tugs for days, but the rope holds tight.
Okay.
Eventually, the baby gives up. But once the elephant is fully grown, they still tie it up. And even though it's now strong enough to snap the rope with ease, it doesn't. It stands there, bound up like it was when it was young. You see, it still believes that the rope is stronger than him, meaning what's holding it back isn't the rope, it's just the belief that breaking free is impossible. They tie.
Hell yeah.
She cries.
Doctor operates on the wrong eye.
Cried tears of blood when she woke up from surgery. You see, she was supposed to have work done on the left eye, but the doctor had operated on the wrong one. Realizing the mistake, he pulled out a needle and injected it into the correct eye. Then he grabbed a pair of scissors. Without gloves or proper tools, he started cutting. She screamed for him to stop, but he ignored her. And when it was over,
why is he barefoot?
She was left with permanent damage to both eyes. She
What the fuck? How did we get? Okay, for sure.
She painted one canvas
the painter's fortune.
Each one sold for thousands online. One day, an investor approached her. He asked her why she only did one painting a day. She told him she liked to paint casually in the morning and spend the rest of her day gardening and taking care of her cats. He ran the numbers, showed her what she could earn if she painted 5 a day. That was more than she needed. She asked what she would do with all that money. He told her she could hire assistants, scale the whole thing, 10 paintings a day, maybe more. He showed her an even larger number. Again, she asked what she would do with all that money. Then he showed her the real plan, a studio, a team of artists, a system that produced 100 paintings a day. She would be rich. He could see it clearly. A thriving business, maximum profit. She asked what she would do if she was rich.
Okay, God, bro, you keep telling her she can make so much money, and she keeps saying, "What would I need all this money for?" And then you think, but more money.
He explained it to her carefully. With that kind of wealth, she could do anything. She could casually paint when she wanted to. She could garden in the afternoons, spend time with her cats, whatever she wants. She agreed that sounded like a beautiful life, and he finally realized that she was already living it. She painted one canvas.
Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off.
If you swabbed the inside of your belly button and placed it into warm milk.
What the fuck? Who would do that? Who would do that? Who would do that? Why would you do that? This makes no sense. This is titled belly button cheese. Why would we do this? Why would we do this?
Probes inside the gunk would start breaking the milk down, which would turn it into cheese. Now, if hundreds of people donated their body bacteria for this, there would be enough to stock an entire deli case with this gunky cheese. But you probably wouldn't want to eat it because it'll smell exactly like the person it came from. If you
What the fuck are we? What's the idea process behind this bitch, bro? What what is the ideal process behind this bitch, bro? This nigga, if you did this, why are we doing that? Why is we doing this? Let's be honest. Let's add serious question. Why are we doing this? All right, what's the next one, bro?
If you wake up,
how to escape a Morg freezer. Let's watch.
In a Morg freezer, the low temperatures will kill you in just a few hours.
Okay.
To escape, feel around the door for a latch to open it from the inside.
Okay.
If it doesn't have one, look for any equipment that was left in there with you. Wedge it between the door and the frame to try and pry the door open.
Chat, listen up. This is great information. Y'all might need this one day.
Work, kick hard against the refrigeration vent in the ceiling. Once it breaks through, it will stop the fan from cooling the freezer, keeping you warm enough until someone finds you. If you wake up...
Very important information, chat. Like, actually don't forget that. Like, feel around for the door. Also, feel around for equipment that was left in there. Write this down. Write this down, chat. No cap. Write this shit down, bro. No cap, bro. Write this shit down, bro.
Poop dropped on the...
All right, what the fuck? The death of Godfrey the Hunchback.
Assassin as he waited beneath the toilet.
I know you fucking lying.
He had climbed up the toilet chute, which emptied outside the castle walls, unnoticed by any guards. And he waited silently until the Duke sat down to relieve himself. At that moment, the assassin lunged his spear straight into the Duke's butt. It tore into his body, causing massive internal injury.
Look at his face! Look at his face, bro! Oh my god. Look at
massive internal injuries, and he slowly bled for days before finally dying.
Okay.
Dropped on your ears would look...
What would 200-year-old ears look like?
Like this if you live to be 200 years old.
Okay.
Stretched, drooping, and noticeably large. And this is because your ears never stop growing. They expand ever so slightly every year. The cartilage inside weakens over...
You know what? The girl that gives me allergy shots actually just talked to me about this. Apparently your nose and your ears never stop growing.
The cartilage inside weakens over time, and gravity slowly pulls them downward, elongating their shape.
Ew.
And the same thing happens to your nose.
What the fuck?
It grows longer, its tip droops, and the nostrils widen, giving it a distinctly aged, exaggerated appearance. Your ears would...
What the fuck? Chat, I don't know about y'all. That's not gonna happen to me though. I'm different. Like, I'm different, like, for real.
The thieves
Devil's breath turns victim into zombies.
blow a handful of powder into their victims' faces, causing them to fall into a hypnotic, zombie-like state. They then voluntarily hand over valuables, money, and even PIN codes with little memory of the events afterwards. But some even die. That's because the powder is devil's breath, a dangerous Colombian drug extracted from a flower that can cause seizures, respiratory failure, and heart attack.
What?
The thieves blow a handful of powder.
Okay. What does a Coffer Dam do?
Structures are
I actually saw this one the other day.
Seabed, as powerful pumps drain it until a patch of ground appears.
Bro, actually, I really see. This is something I actually did learn from Zack D Films, bro. I never knew how they started the process of building bridges, bro. I thought they just threw the motherfucking brick down there. No, they siphon the water out, bro.
This hole in the sea lets people easily work in bodies of water. But if it isn't built correctly, the enormous pressure could cave it in, forcing thousands of gallons of water through the walls.
Okay.
Workers are swept away and sometimes buried under tons of sediment. Steel structure.
Wait, this is... You're supposed to just tell us what it does. Why the fuck do I... Bro, how do we...
swept away and sometimes buried...
How do we get here? Yo, you just supposed to tell us how this shit works, man. I don't know how the fuck we got here. But this shit don't make no sense.
He attached himself to 1,000
balloon flight ends in tragedy. Oh my god.
Helium balloons and lifted off as it began to rain. Now he was supposed to land in a town over 600 miles away.
600?
But the storm picked up and blew him all the way over the ocean. He
oh my
called
god.
the Navy to try to tell them where he was, he didn't know how to use his GPS.
Oh my God.
After weeks of searching, they found only his balloons until his body surfaced 2 months later.
Damn!
He attached himself to 1,000.
1,000 is crazy. 1,000 is
when
crazy.
When the alarm goes off,
this bed forces you to wake up.
It triggers an air compressor hidden under your bed. This releases a high-powered air into pistons attached to the bed frame, causing them to fire. This slams the bed away from the floor and
oh fuck no! Oh hell no! What are we doing? Right, you want me to die every fucking morning?
Launches you straight into the air. At the same time, trumpets blare loudly and bright lights flash from the headboard, ensuring there's no way you can oversleep. When the alarm goes,
I'm not doing that. I'd rather just oversleep. No cap.
If you fall,
how to survive an alligator pond? Come on, Zach. Give us some tips, chat. Make sure y'all writing this down. Y'all ready? Y'all got your pens and papers? Come on, bruh. Y'all got your pens and papers, bruh? Let's go.
Fall into water filled with alligators. You might try to swim back to shore as fast as you can.
Okay.
But the splashing will only attract them. Instead, slowly swim towards the shore without any sudden movements. Now, if one starts swimming towards you, yell loudly and splash water in its face to scare it off. If it still grabs you, hit it hard in its eyes and nose.
Hell
These
yeah.
spots are sensitive and will force the alligator to let go, giving you a chance.
So when you scream at it, chat, it gets disoriented. And then, like, you know, even though it goes underwater and, like, you know, survives in water, if you splash it with water, that's different. You feel me? Like, that's totally different. And it brings a different vibe. And, like, they can't really handle that. You feel me? So that's why you gotta splash it and then yell. Because when you yell, it disorients it and shit. So, like, you could do that, but then if it gets you, you know what I'm saying, like hit it in its eye. We all got like these sensitive areas and shit, you know what I'm saying? So the elevator did though, for sure.
To escape safely.
Hell yeah.
Fall into water. When you pull the.
Why you can't win the shooting games? Come on, chat, listen up. This is why you suck, bro. Come on, we're learning, chat. We're learning today. Love this.
Trigger. A burst of BBs fire out of the gun, hitting the paper with sharp, clean little holes.
Okay.
Now, to win this carnival game, you must completely shoot out the star. But each BB weakens the paper around it, making it softer and less stable. So instead of punching clean holes, they'll eventually just slip through different sections without it tearing.
Okay.
Meaning it's actually harder to remove the red star the more you shoot. When you pull,
for sure,
they
rubbing dead criminals to heal. Yep.
The dead person's hand against their open wound. You see,
Flag on the play. Flag on the fucking play. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. For sure. Hell yeah.
People thought when criminals died, it gave them special healing powers. So they rubbed their wounds on the corpse's hand, hoping the sickness would transfer into their dead body. And it was especially popular for skin problems and infections. But in reality, the corpse's hand could easily spread bacteria into the wound, making things much worse. They rubbed
Look.
bacteria into the wound, making things much worse.
Ew. That's fucking gross.
Worse.
All
they
right.
rubbed the balloon.
Treatment for severe headaches.
Balloon is pushed into your nose and quickly inflated while you hold your breath. This is done if the small bones in your sinuses are out of place. As it expands, it pushes against the bones, causing them to click back into the right position. As they move, the balloon suddenly expands into your throat. Next, it's popped by a toothpick, allowing you to breathe again. This is done 7 more times, opening every cavity in your nose. And as the bones move, the pressure in your head is relieved, putting an end to your pain.
This is just getting your sinuses like fixed. Chat, this is a surgery that I thought I needed. Like, this is that kind of surgery. This is not to fix headaches, I don't think. Unless you get bad sinus headaches, maybe. But it's dead as a surgery to fix your sinuses. That's what that's for.
They
deepest hole on Earth. Let's get it.
Drilled the deepest hole ever dug, reaching over 7 miles into the Earth.
Okay.
And after 30 years of digging, they lowered down a microphone and captured this sound. Now, many believed they had drilled into hell itself, and even some said a demon had escaped through the hole. But it turned out the recording had never actually happened. Instead, Christian TV networks cut together sounds from the horror movie and used it to try and prove that hell exists.
Oh my God, what are these shorts, bro? What are these shorts? Jumping into a pool of stomach acid. Why would we do this? What is teachable about this? Why would we do this?
Over 1 million people somehow pulled out their stomachs. The acid could fill a pool about this size. And if you jumped in, after a few minutes, you'd feel a horrible burning sensation as your outer layers of skin started to melt away. If you stayed in for hours, it would keep breaking you down layer by layer, eating through your muscles and tissues. And after a few days, your body would literally start falling apart as the acid dissolved it, turning you into a slimy mess.
Great information, chat. I hope you're all learning something. I really do. Like, this is very valuable information. Let's get it done. All right, so we got to find everybody in the world and get them to take their stomach out of their belly and pour the acid into the tub. And then I think that's where we get started at. Who's volunteering to go first? Nah, it can't be me. I have to record it for the live stream. So, like, you going first, Shrek? All right, bet. Real niggas. Hey, all the niggas who's going first, we gonna call you the real nigga crew. RNCs. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might not be able to witness what goes down after, because, like, once you rip your stomach out, you're kind of cooked. But, like, just know it was for a great fucking cause. Y'all really certified in my book. Only if you said me. Only if you said you'd be the first ones to volunteer. Volunteer, bro. I'll dap you up, bro. So this for you. If you didn't volunteer, don't dap me up, bro. If you did it, I'm gonna say it again. If you didn't volunteer, don't dap me up, bro. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Shout out my RNCs, bruh.
8 men.
The group shaving machine. What are we doing?
And rest their heads on a metal bar as a sharp moving blade is...
I know you fucking lying. I know, nigga.
Is powered by a crank that the barber turns. Once
this nigga said work smarter, not harder. You about to kill them niggas. You about to kill them niggas trying to work smarter, not harder, bro. Nigga said, why would I just shave 1 when I could shave 8 and make 8 times the money? Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. Oh my God.
As the machine starts, the blade moves across the row, shaving each man's face in one continuous sweep. Now everyone has to stay perfectly still because the blade doesn't stop or slow down. If one person sneezed as the blade passed, he could end up with cuts or worse. And this is why
what the fuck was that? Yo, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Nigga sneezed. Nigga sneezed and lost a nose, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
Down.
Bro.
If one person sneezed as the blade passed,
look at how that shit cut it up. Look.
Or worse. And this is why this device never really caught on.
Oh my God, bro. Nigga went in and got a fucking nose job. Oh my God. All right, what's this? Why are babies born so helpless? Did she just hold the fuck up? That shit is such a crazy start, bruh. Hold on.
When a baby is
just
born,
dropped.
They can't.
And she just walked off. She just dropped that motherfucker out the hoo-ha, out the snatch, and then walked off. Oh my god. She dropped that motherfucker out her snatch and walked off, bro. Bonnie Blue. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, bro. Look, gone.
Can't really
she said eat his fetus.
Do anything except lay there and squirm. But other animals can walk and move around right after they're born. So why are human babies so helpless?
Oh my god.
It's actually because human brains are huge, designed for language and problem solving. And if we stayed in the womb long enough to develop other capabilities like walking, our heads would be too big to come out, resulting in death and the eventual extinction of our species.
Oh my god.
So instead, humans are born earlier and more helpless. But this is also why we're smarter than every other animal. When a baby is born, they can't really do anything except lay there and squirm. Oh my god. The man
family drops case after orca death
and was found floating on top of a killer whale's tank at SeaWorld.
Damn, that motherfucker took a munch. That motherfucker took a bite. God damn. God damn.
And deep scratches covered his body, indicating that the whale had killed him. His parents immediately filed a lawsuit, believing SeaWorld was at fault. But investigators discovered that the man had stayed in the park after hours and snuck into the whale's enclosure. Because he was trespassing, his parents dropped the case, still left wondering what he was doing there to begin with.
Hold on real quick. Why mama counting a thick? I'm sorry. Bro, oh my god. Bro, chat, am I tripping, bro? Come on, bro. That motherfucker.
His parents dropped.
Come on, chat. You know, hey, bro, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not wrong, bro. Come on, bro. Got a little shake, right?
Still
I'm not, no. Nothing about no milk, nothing. I just said that little motherfucker back there. You know what I'm saying?
Wondering what he was doing there to begin with.
Finna have another child. Oh my god.
The dolls had
the doll that caused riots.
Massive eyes, puffed cheeks, and twisted mouths. And even though they were ugly, kids were desperate to have them.
That is
Thousands of parents lined up in front of stores, but only a few hundred dolls were ever in stock. When the doors opened, people shoved, punched, and even swung baseball bats.
Okay, what the fuck? God damn!
The doors open, people shoved, punched, and even swung baseball bats just to grab a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Oh, the Cabbage Patch. I did have one, actually. I had a Cabbage Patch Kid. I'm not gonna lie.
Some even waited in the freezing cold with catcher's mitts after a radio station joked that they would drop some from a plane.
Oh my god.
But only the luckiest kids got the dolls they wanted until the craze ended. The dolls had massive eyes, puffed cheeks, and twisted mouths. And even though they were ugly, kids were desperate to have them. Thousands of parents lined up in front of stores, but only a few hundred dolls were ever in stock. When the doors opened, people shoved, punched, and even swung baseball bats just to grab a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Oh my god!
Some even waited in the freezing cold with catcher's mitts after a radio station joked that they would drop some from a plane. But only the luckiest kids got the dolls they wanted until the craze ended.
Why does she do that? Oh my god. Oh my god. Nigga says skill issue. Oh my god, bro.
If you
how many dollar bills would stop a bullet?
shot a bullet at a stack of dollar bills,
this is such crazy
it would
facts.
tear right through them with ease. And this is because a low-powered rifle fires at around 1,000 feet per second.
Okay.
That's enough to rip through several $100 bills. But as soon as it passes through, the paper fibers slow it down, absorbing its energy.
Okay.
And if you tightly packed thousands of bills together, it could stop a bullet completely, meaning it would only cost you about $4,000 to save your life. If you shot to save your life. It was his
knocking in space.
first time alone in space, drifting quietly over the Earth. Then suddenly, he heard something.
Nigga.
It sounded like someone was tapping on the hull of the spacecraft with a wooden hammer, but he was completely alone inside.
Okay.
He looked out the window, seeing nothing. Putting his ear to the wall, he listened carefully. Still, no explanation. You see, it's actually impossible to hear anything in space, since there's no air to carry sound. Astronauts on other missions reported hearing the same sound, and when they tried to replicate it on the inside, nothing matched. Now, some think it was the spacecraft expanding and contracting from temperature changes, but others wonder if something else was out there.
Okay, bruh. All right, bruh. I don't know about that one, bruh.
He twisted
this invention made millions.
a piece of wire into a coil, creating a spring that allowed it to open and close. He then added a simple clasp to cover the sharp point. You see, before, people used straight pins, which were unprotected and caused injuries and infection.
Why would he? Oh
the
my
man's
God!
genius design prevented this and became the first ever
Safety pin.
But because he was so desperate to pay off a $15 debt, he sold the patent for just $400.
No way this is real. No way.
Eventually, the safety pin made millions, while he died a poor but respected inventor.
Oh, damn. Sucks to suck, bro. All right.
Beneath
the city below New York.
New York would be a miniature version of the city. Air shafts would stretch up to the surface, pulling in fresh air, and a power grid hidden under the streets would keep it running. This could be used for extra housing once the city above ran out of space. But blasting out a hole this huge would be almost impossible. And even if we could, New York City would soon collapse into it, meaning the idea never took off. Beneath New York,
who the fuck had this dumbass idea?
He slipped.
Oh God, he turned his amputated leg into a lamp. What are we doing? 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 What are we doing?
In the kiddie pool and shattered the bones in his leg. And the injury got so infected that doctors had to amputate it. Now, normally, the cut.
Nigga? They put it on a, like, even if they was to fucking cremate the shit, they gonna put it on a conveyor belt? My nigga?
It. Now, normally, the cut off leg would be
flame broiled, right?
But the man decided to keep it. He had it preserved in a glass jar before turning it into a lamp for his living room. And when he needed money for a new prosthetic, he tried to sell it on eBay for $80,000. But unfortunately for him, you can't sell body parts online. He slipped in the kiddie pool.
Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off.
Why
do snowballs stick together?
You squeeze snow into a snowball maker. It turns it into a perfect sphere. But why doesn't it just fall apart? Well, each snowflake has tiny pointed edges, and when pressed together, they actually hook into each other like puzzle pieces. The squeezing makes a tiny bit of heat, which melts the edges just enough to stick together like glue. Then, once you stop pressing, the snow quickly freezes again, locking the flakes tightly in place, giving you a perfect sphere. When you squeeze snow into
that last nigga was ugly, bro.
A perfect sphere.
Look. Yo, this last nigga ugly as shit. What the fuck? Okay, all right. We got a couple more, chat. Gorilla reunites with friend after 5 years.
The moment the gorilla was born, the man cared for him like part of his family. They lived together for 5 years until eventually the time came to release him.
Okay.
It was sad, but necessary. 5 years later, the man went back to the jungle. And when he called, the gorilla suddenly appeared. But he didn't know if he remembered him. He ran toward the man, and for a moment, he feared for his life. But as soon as the gorilla reached him, he embraced him and cuddled up to his old friend. He even introduced him to his friends. And when it came time to say goodbye, the gorilla didn't want to let go. From the
Okay, we gonna get into the most popular. We're gonna see what really brought in the views for Zack D.
When you get stitches, a doctor threads a needle through your wound and pulls it tight to close the skin. As the stitches hold the edges together, the wound becomes inflamed as new cells begin to repair the tissue.
I think I've seen this one.
Afterwards, connective tissues and collagens start to create skin. Then, blood vessels form to nourish these developing tissues, filling in the area. And over a few weeks, the wound will have healed together and the
You know what's so crazy, chat? Is that your body dead ass does heal itself. It may need a little bit of help, but bro, if your body didn't heal itself, the stitches wouldn't do shit. It would just hold your skin together, but it'd always be open. Like, this is so crazy. We all Piccolo. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
The stitches are removed. When you get stitches, if you get a
how splinters get unstuck.
Splinter. Most people just go ahead and pull them out. But sometimes they get lodged so deep into your skin that you can't reach them. If the area
Chat, I fucking hate splinters, bro. That's like the worst.
Gets infected, it will start to swell as pus forms under the skin. This creates pressure around the splinter that can sometimes push it upwards towards the skin's surface. And if you're lucky, after a certain period of time, your body could have completely removed it from your skin. If you
Could ancient armor stop bullets?
Shot a bullet at ancient armor. Some people think it could actually stop the impact.
Now, come on now.
Like chainmail was designed to block slashing swords. And plate armor was even better at deflecting strikes by spreading the blunt force across more area, lessening its impact. But these materials weren't very good at stopping arrows, which had enough energy to enter the armor. So a bullet would have no trouble going right through.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck thought that shit could stop it.
If you
how long are your blood vessels?
Somehow removed all of the blood vessels in your body and tied them together, you might think it would be about this long. But the human body has thousands of these tiny vessels that weave in and out of every body part. And with all of them combined, if you started in New York, your blood vessels would make it all the way to the Grand Canyon. It would go on to reach all the way across the Pacific Ocean, over Japan, Asia, and all of Europe. And not only would it make it all the way back to your starting point, but it would be able to make this trip 2 to 4 times
I don't know about this one.
Over.
I don't know about that one.
When a doctor
Oh my god, blown veins.
gives you a shot, they can sometimes accidentally push the needle all the way through your vein, which ends up puncturing both sides. Once the needle is removed, it leaves 2 holes in the vein. And before the body can thicken the blood and seal these holes, it bleeds into the surrounding tissues. This leaked blood forms a dark, tender area under the skin.
This actually happened to me before, chat.
Creating bruises and splotchy areas. When a doctor
Fucking sucks.
If you lose one of your adult teeth, the bone where the tooth once was can start to deteriorate. To prevent further damage, a dentist will fill the cavity with a synthetic material that mimics real bone. Once filled, a metal bracket is secured on top and the incision is closed. After the graft has healed, a large implant post is inserted.
This does not happen all the time, because Nigga, chat, I have a tooth gone. Maybe if you get an implant, but like, nigga, I just got a tooth taken out. They ain't do that shit. What the fuck was that big ass metal plate? What is this? They just nailed that bitch into your gums? What the fuck?
On top, and the incision is closed. After the graft has healed, a large implant post is inserted into the new bone.
This does happen if you get an implant. If you get an implant and not a bridge, this does happen.
Then a small metal piece is screwed in and a porcelain tooth is secured on top.
That whole metal sheet part is crazy.
If you
saws that stop for fingers.
Accidentally touched a table saw, you'd probably think your fingers would be cut off. But this isn't always the case. You see, some modern
please don't test that theory.
High-end saws actually know the difference between wood and your skin. Once your finger comes in contact with these special saws, it immediately detects the electrical conductivity from your skin. This triggers an immediate mechanical response.
Let's test it, best man. Put your finger
stops
here.
The blade in less than 5 milliseconds.
Oh my god.
If you accidentally
why is he already missing 2 fingers? Am I bugging? Bro, this nigga's already missing 2 fucking fingers. Oh god, he been tried that shit.
When a honeybee stings a human, they actually get stuck for a while and can't leave. And this is because their stinger is barbed, which means it can't retract once it's lodged into something. But once the bee finally pulls away, its insides get ripped out because the stinger stays in the skin. This leaves the bee without some of its internal organs, resulting in its death. When a honeybee stings, have you ever wondered about this little dangly thing at the back of your throat? Well, even though it looks like a miniature punching bag, it actually serves a handful of important functions. You see, when you swallow food, this thing called a uvula actually swings backwards to prevent the food from going up your nose. It's also constantly producing saliva to keep the throat moist, which aids in swallowing. And because there's a tiny muscle inside the uvula, it can—
Oh, so it's a girl house. Chat, was that a good reference? Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Come on, that was come on, chat. That was bean flicking. Oh my god, chat. Bro, Monster House, man. Y'all don't get the Monster House reference? You niggas suck. Oh my god, y'all suck. Shout out to all the niggas that got it, bruh. Oh my god.
You move around, which helps you speak.
Type. Okay.
If you're trapped—
all right, last one, chat. Write this down.
If you're trapped in the trunk of a vehicle, you should immediately start searching for the glow-in-the-dark release hatch. If you don't see the latch, don't panic. Trunks are not airtight, so there's no risk of running out of oxygen. Try feeling around the edges of the trunk for a handle. This may allow you to release the seat back. As a last resort, kick out one of the brake lights. This small opening will allow you to signal for help.
Best man for sure getting kidnapped, bro. Gullible. Oh my god. All right, man. Well, that has been a fucking Zack D films, bro. These facts are insane, bro. But shout out to Zack D. Keep making these, bro. They're pure entertainment, bro. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we do learn some shit for sure, but these are also very entertaining.